Hey guys, Scott and apparently Emma here. Today I want to talk about how I think in a couple of weeks the game is about to get significantly harder for killer and how I'm a little worried about that. I am notoriously on the side right now of not believing the game feels harder for killer. I feel like it's been mostly the same, and I think a lot of it has been mass hysteria and the actual data doesn't really support the game getting harder. But again, a lot of people have been feeling it, and that is why I am concerned, because in a few weeks, it's going to get actually harder. So if you think it's harder now, you are in for a very rough time for killer, at least in my opinion. And I want to go over why that's the case and why I am actually scared about a couple of things that are changing when the Walking Dead patch actually hits live, assuming things stay the same from PTB, which they might not. So hopefully a lot of this stuff does get changed and reverted before it goes live. But let's talk about the things that worry me. First one, and probably the biggest one, is Franklin's demise being nerfed is massive. So right now, Franklin's demise, when you hit a survivor, they drop their item and the item decays on the ground, which means if it's on the ground for like a minute or something, it's basically unusable. It'll have little or no charges left, rendering the item useless. This was the main counter to very strong medkit teams. And it's the reason why I didn't really consider those types of things to be super overpowered, because if I join a lobby and I see 4 medkits, you bet your ass I'm switching one of my perks to Franklin's because I'm just going to have to do that. It's just too much self-resetting and healing to have the entire team have potentially 2 heals each at 16 seconds. It's just too much to combat for most killers. So you need to bring Franklin's to make it so their medkits are not going to be usable, at least when you hit them. And so that's why I've said it's not that bad. Healing is mostly okay because you can always bring in Franklin's and not really have to worry about that stuff, counter all of their items. But because Franklin's is being significantly nerfed to make it so items no longer lose charges on the ground, this doesn't work anymore. Because the whole reason it was great against medkits is even if it was on the ground for 5 seconds, that medkit no longer has a full heal. And, 98%ing a heal doesn't matter if I hit you before someone else heals you. So it was the full reset that was the really important part about medkits. But you could make it so people were not able to fully reset. Even if you just hit them and they immediately pick their item back up, it would still lose its full heal. So that's why Franklin's was so good. It was not the dropping of the item, it was the decay. Honestly, if they changed Franklin's to just say when you hit a survivor, their items lose 50% of their charges, that would be better. I would actually prefer that. But without the decay anymore, it doesn't matter if that medkit's been on the ground for a minute or 5 minutes. It still has its own full heal inside of it, which is the problem. And now there's nothing you can do to really stop that. Overwhelming presence also got nerfed, so you can't even make people consume it quicker. Like, there's not really much you can do against the team of medkits anymore other than just change your main to plague. And I'm worried about that. I'm genuinely worried about that because you can't just commit to every chase as a killer. Every time I mention stuff like this, there's some shitter that's never played killer before this goes, well, it's a skill issue. You need to just commit to your downs. Don't hit and run. It's like, no, that's not how the game works. If you've played DBD at a remotely high level on killer, you'll know you can't just commit to every chase that you get into. That is the surefire way to lose the game. If you're chasing a good survivor and they run to the main building of Asylum or something like that, no, you don't chase that dude. It'll take you 3 gens to hit them. It's just there's some areas where you have to just abandon, kick a pallet, make it weaker for the next chase, but then you have to fuck off. And normally it's not a huge deal because the pressure remains. They got to waste time healing or whatever, but if they have their medkit and can just do it themselves in a very quick amount of time, then you don't really build pressure anymore and you can't commit to every chase. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what the hell my options are anymore. So yes, Franklin's nerf making full medkit teams much, much stronger and arguably just straight up uncounterable unless you're playing an absolute S-tier killer that can commit to every chase and 12 hook, which is just simply not most killers. It's going to be extremely annoying dealing with the resets that are no longer really counterable in any way. That's the first major thing. Another thing to coincide with that is the anniversary event is extended. The anniversary event is giving people a shit ton of items and extra add-ons and all this stuff. And it was already lasting for a while. People getting 300k blood points a game. Except now it's lasting even longer. So we're having this perfect storm of everybody having billions of blood points, having an immense excess of items. And then at the same time, a patch is coming to nerf the counter to those items. So it's really the combination of all this stuff happening at once that makes it even worse. And on top of that, they're making Built to Last significantly stronger. They buffed it by 50%. Built to Last now fully regenerates an item in 8 seconds, which is, again, with all of these things changing around it, it's like, it's not just one thing. It's a perfect storm of all of these things happening at once. So now we're going to have a lot of people having giga commodious toolboxes, and now they can regenerate their toolbox in 8 seconds, which is, I don't know why Built to Last got nerfed. Absolutely no sense. That perk was already very strong. If you brought in a very good toolbox, you could just have 2 amazingly swiveled, wire spooled, whatever toolboxes, and actually you could have more than that. You could have like 2.6 or something. I don't remember the exact ratio, because every time you use Built to Last, the effectiveness goes down. So the first time it's a full regeneration, then 66%, then 33%, then nothing. So yeah, you could still basically get 2 additional full uses, and the fact that they buffed that perk by 50% means not only it'll be more prevalent because it was buffed, but it's just math-wise just so much better that we're going to be seeing a bunch of these toolboxes that people are earning from the events now being reused multiple times. And the problem is, like, not even old Franklins could counter toolboxes like this. Old Franklins is really good against medkits because as soon as you hit it once, a single charge goes away. It's no longer a full heal. But the way toolboxes worked, a lot of the time you would hit people and make them drop their toolboxes after it's already been used. The first guy that you chase, yeah, you'll hit him and his toolbox becomes useless, but the other 3 people, if they have toolboxes, you can't just simultaneously hit everybody. So likely by the time you got to them, Franklins didn't really help you very much because they were already used. Now, that is going to be even weaker, and the toolboxes are going to be regenerated even quicker and not be able to be regressed on the ground at all. So it's just like I said, all this stuff combines to a meta I'm considerably worried about as killer. And there's also a bunch of other, like, I'm not even going to talk about the potential changes. I see a lot of people freaking out about, like, the anti-slug and anti-tunnel and stuff like that. People just straight making shit up, like they're giving everyone base kit unbreakable and tenacity. Like, where'd you get that information? People are just making shit up and rolling with it. So I'm not even going to, like, worry about that stuff yet until we see what we're actually getting. I'm just talking about the tangible data-related stuff that we are getting. And yeah, there's still other stuff that we're getting with the Walking Dead patch 2 that I'm worried about. The perk Conviction from Michonne. If this perk comes to life as it is in the PTB, I'm really concerned about it. For those who don't know what this perk does, whenever you activate it by simply healing a survivor one time, if you're on the ground and hit 25% recovery, you can pick yourself back up. Now, that doesn't seem like a huge deal because you can just be like, well, just don't slug people. But it's not really that simple. That's not really enough time to be like, oh, I'm just slugging people because I just want to slug everybody and get pressure. No, this is just I downed a guy and I'm checking around for 4 or 5 seconds to make sure no one's about to get this pallet save that he died under, or there's no one ready for a flashlight save or something like that. That's only a few seconds you need to get that 25%, and then you can just pick yourself back up. People are already combining it with Soul Guard to give themselves endurance as soon as they pick themselves back up. Now, the perk has a caveat that when you pick yourself back up, you go back down 30 seconds later. But even then, there are plenty of things you can do to combat that. You can just bring Plot Twist and down yourself so you can fully heal. You can just bring Unbreakable, so you can just run to a safer area where the killer doesn't know where you are, and then just use Unbreakable safely there. Like, there are so many ways to reset your own pressure with that perk that the downside of going down again, it's very easily mitigated. So I'm really worried that we're going to be in the scenario where I down a survivor under a pallet, and like a good killer, I look around really quick to make sure no one's around for this pallet save, and then he just gets up and fucks off with endurance, and I can't do anything about it. That I foresee being a massive problem. Maybe not so much at, like, you know, the lower levels, but at the higher levels, I think that is going to be extremely abusable because it punishes the killer for kind of doing the correct strategy and being aware of his surroundings and knowing if there's someone nearby for a flashlight save or not. That is really what concerns me. A lot of people are worried about the Vault Stun perk. I couldn't give less of a shit about that perk. I think that 99 times out of 100 people are just going to kill themselves trying sick dropkick vaults. There's going to be a couple of bully squads that do the same thing that you can do with head-on currently, except instead of out of a locker, it'll be out of a window. Whatever, it's one time about. I don't really care about that perk. I'm really worried about Conviction from Michonne. That perk, I think, is going to really throw a hammer in all of my plans for just being aware of people around saves, because like I said, it's just a few seconds. A few seconds of looking around is all it takes to activate the perk. People are going to run it with Soul Guard to give themselves endurance, and then they're just safe. So yeah, that perk I foresee being a massive problem. I am genuinely scared about that. I'm genuinely scared about the healing changes not even the healing changes, the counterplay to medkits changing, not even healing itself. I'm scared about that. I'm scared about Built to Last being buffed, combined with the anniversary event giving everybody a bunch of items that'll be really nice to regenerate per match. So yeah, we're going to be in this scenario here where there's a lot of stuff coming together at the exact same time to make, in starting 3 weeks from now, I would assume months, Killer is going to feel significantly harder, which there's a little portion of me that's like, good, I don't have 17-minute killer queues anymore because no one's going to fucking play it. But at the same time, yeah, it's going to be a lot more stressful, and I'm really not looking forward to that. So people that have been bitching at me, while I'm on the defense saying Killer's not harder, just know in 3 weeks, I will almost definitely be on your side and agreeing that, yes, now it actually is harder. Here's the data to prove it. I can see exactly what is causing it to be harder. This is not some like mass hysteria thing. This is a fundamental proof that shit, yeah, this is just getting really rough now. So I tend to shift biases a bit depending on the current metas. Like, when Made for This was meta, Old Medal of Man was meta, when Circle of Healing was meta, Old Green Medkits, I was definitely more killer-sided. Lately, I've been a bit more survivor-sided because I felt there hasn't really been anything super broken on the survivor side to have to worry about. But yeah, that's changing pretty soon, and I will be pretty worried. Curious to hear what you guys think. I don't know. We'll see, I guess, but that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.